welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Haley. I run the blog Handy Homemade, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my homemade dish soap recipe. This is a recipe that I come up with in a soap calculator, and it is one that has worked really well for me, and one that I've been really proud of, and I'm finally ready to share that with you guys. Also, my mom and I make these to sell in some local markets, and so I need to make a new batch because we have a couple Christmas markets coming up. And I thought while I'm making it today that I would walk you through exactly what I do to create my homemade soap. So there are a couple of things off the bat that I think that you should invest in if you are going to be working with products such as lye and making your own soaps. I like to think of it kind of like chickens. When you invest in chickens, you also have to buy a coop or a tractor, and you don't see the payment right off the bat. You don't see the profit that comes from that off the bat. It takes a little bit for those chickens to pay you back in eggs and meat, and it's the same way anytime you kind of make your own products. There's a few things, even in soap making, that I think that you should make an investment in first before you see the profit off of the dish soap and the body soaps and stuff that you can make for years to come. So I'm going to be sharing with you all of those things today. I'll have them all linked down below for you guys. I will also put this in a blog post so that you can print it off. I would love to eventually be able to sell our products on my website, so leave a comment down below if that's something that you're interested in. I have been so excited to share this recipe with you guys because it is another step towards homesteading, and I've just been really excited about. We eventually, my husband and I, we would love to have some sort of hobby farm or just a small homestead. I think community is incredibly important, so I don't want to just say that we're going to be self-sufficient or living off grid, because that's never going to happen. But this is just one of those little things to turn my waiting room into a classroom, and I have just been really excited to share it with you guys. So I'm going to take you along with me today, so let's go ahead and get into the video. I want to show you guys some things that I think are worth investing in before we jump into the soap making. I highly recommend having equipment strictly for soap making. We are going to be working with lye, and lye is caustic. It can burn you. That's not to scare you, but we are going to be taking extra precautions to make sure that we are safe. Until it saponifies into soap, it can harm you, and so you want to make sure that you have equipment strictly for soap making and that you're not eating off of that, because lye particles can be left behind, and obviously we don't want to ingest that. So the first thing that I recommend investing in, obviously, is safety gear. I will be putting on long sleeves to make sure that I have no bare skin showing so I don't get burnt. And then these come up to my elbows, and then safety goggles to wear. I will not be wearing a mask because I will be mixing my lye mixture outside, so any of the fumes that come off of it, I don't feel the need to wear a mask because I'm out in open air outside. So not worried about that, but if you are doing it inside, make sure it's well ventilated, open your windows, and then maybe wear a mask if you want. Something else that is not necessary, but I highly recommend, is a soap making kit. This is the mold that you will pour your mixture into, and then this helps measure out the width of the soap bars that you want to cut. Comes with a couple of slicers. This one is how we get those really cute little waves, and then it has just a plain one. You can use a bread loaf pan and cover it with parchment paper if you don't have one of these, but I definitely think if you want to get into soap making, this is worth the price. It's about $20–25 on Amazon, and I will link this one down below. And then I also, because we do sell these, invested in a couple of extra molds. This is a really cute bumblebee mold, and then this one I haven't ever tried before. We're gonna try it out today. It is I don't know if you can see it, it's a cow and a calf. I just think it's really sweet, so we're gonna try those out today. The next few things is stainless steel equipment. You don't want to use glass, and you don't want to use plastic or wood, because lye can actually eat away at wood. It can melt plastic, and it can break glass. It gets really hot when you mix the lye and water together. You will see that. It is over 100 degrees Fahrenheit when it's mixed together, so Stainless steel is the way to go. I just thrifted this, and that is what I'm going to be putting my lye mixture in. And then the stainless steel pan is what or stock pot is what I use to melt my oils in. And then the last few things is an immersion blender. This one is strictly for soap making in my household. It is about $10 on Amazon, and it has worked really, really well. An infrared thermometer, so all I have to do is scan it. I don't actually have to stick anything down in it, and it tells me the temperature. You're going to want your lye mixture and your oils to be similar in degree. You don't want them to vary too much, or else it won't mix the way you want it to. And then the last little thing that I think is worth investing in is a pH tester. Your soap should be between 8 and 10. You're supposed to let your soap cure for a couple of weeks. I typically give 4 to 6 weeks for my soaps, and I get a reading somewhere around 9 when I am ready to use or sell my products. Long sleeves are on, and I thought I would share with you the ingredients that we're going to use. The oils, there's only 3 of them. The primary one is organic coconut oil. I chose this because of its cleaning properties. I really like coconut oil. And then a small portion will be organic castor oil. I chose this for its lathering properties. And then last but not least is grass-fed and finished beef tallow. I buy this in bulk, and I chose this because of its skincare properties. I love beef tallow for skincare, which you guys probably know by now. And then the other 2 ingredients is going to be lye, which I keep in this bag because I do not want to touch it until I have gloves on. And then water. I use tap water. Some people use distilled water. I think it just depends on the minerals in your water, but I've never had an issue with my tap water, causing any problems when it comes to making soap. So that's what I'm going to be using. I'm also going to grab some vinegar. I like to wipe everything down with vinegar once I'm done because I read somewhere that vinegar neutralizes lye. I don't know how true that is, so don't quote me on that, but I'm going to be using it anyways. It just makes me feel a little bit safer when it comes to using lye in making soap. So let's jump into the soap making. We are starting out by weighing out the oils. I used 25.04 ounces of coconut oil, 1.08 ounces of castor oil, 1.08 ounces of tallow, and then the lye is going to be 4.88 ounces, and then 10.34 ounces of water. This recipe will be over on my blog. If you guys want to check it out, you can click the more button below, and there will be a link in the description for my blog. I'll also try to have a printable for you guys. So I'm going to put on some protective gear, and we're going to measure out that lye and water. Like I said, it's 4.88 ounces of lye and 10.34 ounces of water. I know I said earlier in the video that you can use tap water, and I use tap water in this recipe, and you definitely can depending on how hard your water is. But since filming this video, I've made more batches, and I have had a single batch go rancid because of the hard water. So I'm definitely going to be using distilled from here on out just to make sure I'm not wasting my time when making soap. We're going outside, and I'm mixing my lye and water. You always want to add the lye to the water, not the other way around. It'll keep it from splashing. And then we're going to mix that together until it is almost clear. And I'm going to temp it, and you can see here it's around 202 degrees Fahrenheit. So definitely too hot right now to add to anything. And we're going to go back inside and check on the oils that are melting on the stove. Those are also too hot right now to add. We want to let everything cool to around 100 degrees. And then I like my lye and my oils to be within 10 degrees of each other before mixing them. While those are cooling, I'm going to show you guys how to clean the materials that you use that have lye in them. You can see the excess lye here in this jar. And when I first started making soap, I had a hard time finding videos or instructions on what to do with the leftover lye, and I didn't know how to properly clean it or discard of it. So I'm going to show you what to do now. First thing I'm going to do is rinse it out to make sure it doesn't splash on you. And then you can see I have a grocery bag that I'm going to use as a trash can to throw away any paper towels that have lye on it. After rinsing, I use a paper towel and some soap, and I wash it out 3 times. And I'm actually going to show you here the lather on these soap bars. I'm using a soap bar that I made from a batch while ago with the same recipe. So you can see that lather here, but I wash it out 3 times, and I know that seems like a lot, but I haven't been burned yet by any excess lye particles, and in my opinion, it's better to take the time and care to wash it out rather than risk it. And once everything is washed, I'm going to wipe it all down with some vinegar just for extra safety measures and let that air dry. After everything's cleaned up, my oil and lye mixture is usually cooled enough to mix. I pour the lye water into the oils. You never want to pour the oils into the lye. Always with lye, the lye goes into whatever mixture you have. And then I put the bowl and the spoon in the sink to wash after mixing. I always mix before I wash them, and then I wash them the same way I showed you guys earlier. Now I'm mixing everything with my immersion blender, and I want to make sure that I reach this thing called trace. Trace is the point in soap making when you've mixed your oils and lye and they have emulsified and they can no longer separate. And I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. Your mixture should be like a thin pudding texture, and then when you have hit trace, you will be able to see a little bit of texture on the top when you lift your blender out. So I'm going to show that here. You can see it kind of leaves a trail. That is what you want. You don't want to continue mixing it because it can get too thick and goopy, but you just want a thin pudding texture and then that trail on top, which is called trace. Then we pour it into our molds and we wait. Most soap recipes will say wait 24 to 48 hours before cutting or taking them out of your molds. Coconut and tallow are hard oils, so I actually cut mine about 4 to 6 hours after making it, because if you wait too long, they will become really hard and they'll be difficult to cut and they will be crumbly. I let them sit till it hardens, but it is still soft, and I take them out of the mold and cut them. And then I let them cure for 4 weeks before using. You can actually use it prior to that. You give it about 48 hours and it fully saponifies, but if you want a nice hard soap that doesn't just wash away when you're using it, I suggest letting it cure for about 4 weeks. There you have it, guys. The cutest little bars of soap. I'm just so pleased with how these turned out. I hope you guys are too. Please leave a comment down below if you try this recipe. Also, let me know if you would be interested in purchasing these off of my website, handandhomemade.co. Maybe I can get those up for you guys if you are interested. And just thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I'm just so excited to be sharing these recipes with you guys, these things that we have been working towards turning our waiting room into a classroom and working towards that end goal of having a small hobby farm or having like a small homestead. It's just such a big dream of mine, and while we're in this house and in the land that we have now, we just don't have enough to really farm off of. We are doing the little things that we can do to work towards that big goal. So stuff like making my own soap. I'm also going to be sharing a body soap recipe pretty soon, hopefully, and I've got one that I'm trying out, and I'm waiting for it to cure, and we'll see how it turns out, and if it turns out well, I'll share that with you guys too. So little things like this, it just makes me excited for our big dreams that we have later on down the road. So thank you so much for being here, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye, friends.